Hello everyone, welcome back to another tutorial with ieolia and ADSR. Today we're going to be talking about Europa. Europa is basically a wavetable synthesizer. It's built into Reason. Wavetable synthesizers have quite a high price on the market, so for this to just be built into the DAW, I dare say it's the first wavetable synthesizer built into a DAW. And you don't have to buy it secondhand. It still does make some quite fantastic sounds. It has 3 oscillators, it has 4 envelopes, 3 LFOs, a very similar, just kidding, the exact same setup in the effects section as in Grain. You can move around all your effects, same mods, same pitch, exact same locations for quite a lot of stuff in here. Where the master volume is, where your oscillators are, where your MIDI options are, and the envelopes. They're all in the same place as Grain, your master filter even, and your amp, which is great because you don't have to learn a new plugin. You just need to understand how one works and the other one works the exact same. You just need to understand how to work the oscillators, which is great. So less effort for you, more sounds you can make. Now, if you don't know what a wavetable synthesizer is, you basically have a starting point like this, and then you go to something like this. So you basically fade between this saw wave to the sine wave in one super smooth fashion. That's it. It's great. It lets you get sounds that have lots of harmonic content, lots of spectral movement at one time, which in nowadays is a really good thing because people need to be constantly innovating all these new sounds. And all these new sounds come from things like wavetable synthesis, FM synthesis, things that aren't repeatable by someone just going into their plugin and being like a saw wave. So that's great. This is going to be a fantastic plugin. Let's talk about some of the presets. Let's just go over some presets so you can hear this in action. This is a lead. It's being played in chords and it's working quite well. This needs a nice pitch bend. Sounds like AU5. There's a lot of sounds in here that you just can't get with most synths, and it's because there's wavetable synthesis, and there's these modifiers which take it even farther with like what it does to the waveform. What? Yeah, it's crazy. So let's whip out a reset device like this. It's gonna sound like this. Pretty much the way every single plugin should sound. Something like this, a little better. But what's great here is we can morph between our basic waveforms. This is how I have my serum set up by default. I have it set up to the basic shape preset on all my oscillators, so I can just quickly go from sine to saw to square to whatever I want just to get things flowing real quick. So that's nice. It's right in here in the reset device. Great. We can switch between them. We can mod this if we want and have them switch constantly, or we can just throw straight to a saw wave and move on with our life. So, like, you know, how does this thing do? What does it do? Let's see, some super saws maybe? Let's do some super saws. Unison, count, I don't know, maximum. And blend, detune, like, up. It's different from every plugin. This one actually has a reasonable detune by default, but I don't like reasonable. Cool. I can even go get another oscillator. I can do that again. I can come and put up the octave. Let's switch between here. So yeah, and here I'm going to put this up an octave. I'm going to go ahead, add unison, high count, get some nice detune spread. And then for my third oscillator, I'm gonna come in, get more unison, put my count up, get a saw wave, get my blend. Oh yeah, the detune spread. I'll turn these ones off for a second. I want to listen to this one. And let's turn these all back on. Cool. We can have a global filter. We can do this. They all have filters now. That's great. I can quickly attach this to envelope too. Put this on loop. I can do global syncing here. What? Oh yeah, beat sync. And do quarter notes. And then I can mess with my stuff. Maybe add some distortion. Ping pong delay, all sorts of stuff. But want to get crazy, and instantly we have nice sound. Simple but powerful with these three oscillators. Now, before I even got into any of that, there's some other things that we've got going on here. We have some modifiers. Now, in these modifiers, they can do things like fold, hard sync, invert, mirror, downsample. If you know what all these mean, because there's way too many to explain them, they do things. And they have amounts, and you can see how it actually will affect your wavetable when you turn them on and what it does. This is pretty important, especially if you don't understand them or don't remember what they do, because you'll see what it does. It basically just messes up your waveform real hard. And you can layer them, or you can have multiple doing different things. Quantize, there we go. There's a harmonizer in here, I believe 16 harmonics. And there's even wavetables we can select here that will have their own movements built into them, like FM wavetables, sync sine. Some quite interesting things. This is basically a kick movement right here if you bring this down. And there's already some great stuff going on in here. We can send this to envelopes. We can click this and change where we want it to go, but this arrow knob just indicates where it's going to go. We can attach this to velocity. I will admit, attaching things to things like velocity in this, or modulating them with velocity, is far easier than it is in Serum. In Serum, you have to drag something over to it and then set it up perfectly. In here, you just turn on the knob. Very simple. Cool if you want to make those sounds that really work with your keyboard, if you're someone who's an expressive player on their MIDI keyboard. All right, so now, Spectral Filter. This thing is the other thing that's very important in this as well. Different from the other filters. This has features built into it similar to Parsec 2 with their interesting little modifier section. We can have a regular filter here. It can be a regular old Joe. He lives his life and he does things. What we can do now is turn on this harmonic section and add a mount. And he's not a regular old Joe anymore. I don't even think that's a filter. What happens? This isn't wavetable synthesis. Nah, this is like spectral subtractive synthesis now. And that's cool because you might have looked and been like, there's not really that many filters. But if you take these and multiply them by these pretty much each, and then all these positions you've got like infinite filter possibilities now. Not saying you're going to be able to cover every type of filter in the world, but the filter possibilities are not lacking here. And the sound design possibilities are not lacking here. Hope you liked this video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.